We have people from Beach Gas Company coming tonight?
No. Just Center Point.
Oh, okay. Who's gonna answer the other questions from natural gas?
That one's not till the next meeting.
Oh, you put that one up.
Yeah. Mhm.
Those are never filed.
Hey, Bob, can you hear us all right? Looks like you're on mute, Bob.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Perfect.
Meter running.
Yeah, the clock's starting, right?
Meter running. Ooh.
By the word. All right, 6 o'clock. Let's get started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for attending the Monday, August 1st Credit River City Council meeting. As we call the meeting to order, the first agenda item is to approve or amend the agenda for tonight. Does anybody have any changes for tonight's agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add to roads or something here, discussion of driveway 16141 Creekwood Road.
Okay, we'll put that as general business item number 2.
Any place you want to put it.
Okay, anything else? No?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Al.
Second.
Thank you, Brent. A motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda with the one note of change. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Sheriff's up to date. Tonight we have Deputy Emerson tonight in place of Deputy Strack. If you'll don't mind stepping up to the podium there, and Deputy, if you do me a favor, there's a square button on that microphone. If you'll push it and hold it down until the green light comes on. You're on. Thank you. It's right on the,
Oh, there we
right
go.
there.
Yeah. Hi, Marshall Emerson. I'm the sergeant over Credit River as well. So Jeff Strack is busy tonight at his use of force training. So I'm here to talk about some of the upcoming events and that. Tomorrow night, we have Night to Unite. We have 5 different events going on in the city of Credit River. Myself and Jeff will be attending all of them. I believe you've been made aware of it and hope to see you guys out there as well. So another upcoming event we have is on the 13th of August. We have the safety camp going on at Cleary Lake. So those are 2 of the big events. As far as call loads, stuff like that, we've had some interesting calls, but I mean, nothing. Unfortunately, one of them that people may have some questions about, I can't share a whole lot because it's still under investigation. Other than that, the road construction projects are continuing, and
Yeah.
we have a pulse on that. Sounds like 27. It's going to be done by end of October. So what I've
pace
been
they're
told.
going.
So another reminder that we do have the speed trailer. If that's something you guys are seeing or something you're in need of, that's something that we can get over to you. We've been trying to monitor other road construction projects in the area. So if you do see people on side streets or something like that, or if you're getting complaints, let us know.
Yeah.
Specifically myself or Jeff, and we'll get them over here. So,
Perfect.
do you guys have any questions for me?
Anybody have any thoughts or questions for the deputy tonight? No? I think
Perfect.
we're good.
Well, hey, thanks guys.
Cool. Thank you, deputy. Appreciate it. Be safe out there.
Yeah, you too.
We'll probably see you around tomorrow night somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
All right, sounds good. So moving on, consent agenda. Those items on the council agenda which are considered routine or non-controversial are included as part of the consent agenda. Unless a council member specifically requested an item on the consent agenda be removed and considered separately, items on the consent agenda are considered under one motion, a second, and a vote. Any item removed from the consent agenda shall be placed at the end of general business. Tonight, on the consent agenda, we have item number 1, Minnesota Department of Administration State Procurement, JPA. Item number 2, parking lot use agreement for Mark and Julie Pearson. Item number 3 is approving ordinance 2022-03, establishing a moratorium regarding the sale of THC products in Credit River. Is there anything in the consent agenda tonight that anybody would like to pull and consider separately? No.
No.
If the answer is no, if somebody would make a motion and a second to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Eric Costa, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Novak. Thank you, Councilmember Stevens. We have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda for tonight. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Open forum. The public forum is intended to afford the public an opportunity to address concerns to the council. The public forum will be no longer than 30 minutes in length, and each presenter will have no more than 5 minutes to speak. Topics of discussion are restricted to local governmental topics rather than private or political agendas. The council may discuss but will not take formal action on public forum presentations tonight. If anybody would like to speak for open forum, please step up to the microphone, state your name.
Tom
Go
Wolf.
on. Hey, Tom.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. Tom Wolf, Scott County Commissioner. Just a couple things tonight. Road construction is in full force still, and yeah, sooner the better. We're looking at our levy. We've been doing budgeting and looking at that now for 3 months, and it's not pretty. So it is not as bad as Prior Lake, which is looking at a 13 point something right now. So we're looking at about a 7 something. And a lot of that, 3% of that is due to the state not doing their job with the legislator. We have many mandates, as all the counties do, and they're not paying us for them. So, and we rely on that money to, balance the budget. So maybe that will get fixed. Maybe there will be a special session by the end of the year. We don't know yet. But other than that, that's all I have tonight. Oh, we're going to talk about the cannabis or the THC stuff tomorrow. And I don't know, if it's legal in most places and not one, I don't know. It's kind of like fireworks to me. I'm sure I heard they were legal in Minnesota. I don't know if you guys know that, but most of the year you can see them going up. So anyhow, am I wrong, Leroy? Come on now. Come on. There's more fireworks in the yards than anyhow. And Minnesota loses about 200 million in taxes because of that people go to Missouri is the best spot, I guess. So anyhow, that's all I have.
Okay. Sounds good, Tom.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you. Anybody else for open forum tonight? All right, well, we will close open forum. No public hearings tonight, so let's move into general business. Tonight, item number 1 in general business, we have a representative from CenterPoint Energy is going to give us a little update on the construction of a gas pipeline in Credit River. It's on. You're good, TJ.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members, public in attendance. Thank you for allowing me to present CenterPoint's 2022 gas main project. The project has actually started in 2021. It's to reinforce the existing Scott County system for the current and future customer growth and load demands. I think I heard you talking that the compressor station for 196 is actually next week. That is our delivery point, taking custody from Northern Natural 196 in Texas. The gas is going to be moved from there through a 12-inch pipeline up to County Road 42 to an existing pipeline where it will be sent east and west. Again, we started construction last fall up in Savage. We installed the pipe from just south of 42 down to 154th. This year, ahead of the Scott County overlay, we've already completed the work in Savage from 154th across County Road 44. And there's currently 2 crews within the Scott County Reconstruct project installing that segment of pipeline. Once they're done, we still have some east-west pipe on Casad 21 between Murphy Lake Road and County Road 27. And then the next segment would be coming down Murphy Lake Boulevard. I apologize.
You're good.
The crew is averaging about 1,000 feet a week. It's not a small plastic pipe where they're just stringing it out doing a small drill rig. It is an open trench, so there is more of a impact to traveling public. The example on County Road 21, we had a single lane closure, so they were working just behind the curb of the boulevard because there was a little more space back there. Murphy is a little bit of a tighter corridor. There's about 14 feet off the edge of the road. Majority of Murphy is elevated in relation to the adjoining grass space. So the ditch does create problems for an existing directive from the city as far as removing everything from the roadway. I think some of that's going to be ongoing discussions with the public works, streets, and the engineering to find a happy medium. The majority of the traffic control plan would be similar to what the Scott County has out right now, just basically signing the road closed. It would still be open for the local residents to get to their driveways. We can put additional flaggers around the actual workspace of the crew when they're out there. As far as getting everything off the edge of the road, that does pose a little bit of difficulty. It's a very linear operation. So once you get rolling, the pipe is welded up right behind the excavator, placed in the trench, and it's backfilled. So again, some ongoing discussions. I know there's been a few inquiries from some of the residents along the route in regards to the pressure station. I did submit the exhibit to the city showing that the loops are about 4 to 5 feet tall. We're planning to put a screening vegetation on both the road side and the property side, which is kind of a typical I've seen with any kind of public planning commission requirements or requests. The reason why we're wanting to place it back, not on the edge of the right of way, but outside is again, because Murphy is an elevated road. So in the winter time, if the car were to go off, that's just a bigger factor of safety. It would still have the bollards around it. Shane, the city engineer, did share the a proposed future profile when Murphy is developed, showing a ditch area going to the outsides. Given that Murphy's already elevated, we anticipated the road to remain the same. Not sure how the ditch would actually taper on the southeast side of the road where the pipe and station would go. But again, just trying to make sure we're building for the future of the road so that we aren't in the way when the road is constructed down the road. That's the quick summary, I guess. Is there any questions about the pipeline or kind of what to expect?
So I guess, TJ, my question is if you've been working on this for 2 years, why is this suddenly a hurry up exercise to get approval for this section? Why wasn't this something that was talked about 2 years ago when this project first started?
Right, so we did have some open discussions as far as some considerations with the route selection between Shane and Scott County and City of Savage. The initial entire project was planned for this year until the reconstruct project came to light. So then the Scott County had the directive for us to get in and kind of get that project done last year. Now it's just going to be the only segment. Then once the contractor came on board, that changed. And since we had the pipe and the crew and the dollars allocated, we just got the northernmost segment done. The advice from the engineering, which is, I apologize, I forget the name. Person does the permits here referred me over to Shane. They just basically requested that we would stay in the outer 10 feet. There wasn't much more of a discussion at that point. So I know recently a lot more of the items came to light, which is why I asked if there'd be opportunity to come down and talk to everybody and kind of get everyone up to speed. So I do apologize that wasn't done this winter.
And why is it coming jogging over to Murphy, not just going straight down 27?
Well, 2 reasons. One, Texas right there is a similar profile where it's a raised roadbed and there's kind of a ditch area. So any kind of traffic impacts to one way or the other as far as road obstruction would be similar. With the larger traffic volume there, it'd be more of a, well, the public would get hit by it more, so to speak. So that was the primary reason. The secondary is just because the Scott County requests that we don't put any above ground facilities on the edge of the road because they don't want to have a driveway access up this county road. So that's why we asked about coming down Murphy Lake. And when we had the inquiries, there's no initial objection.
Any council members have any questions?
Yeah, it sucks,
Yeah.
my opinion. Oh, then all this pipeline, when you get down to the end, you expect it just to be hooked up. I mean, it's ridiculous. Should have talked about this this 2 years ago.
Brent?
Mayor, when would we be looking at approving this? We have not approved.
The city has not approved the easement permit for construction yet, but there was several conditions that were applied, requested of CenterPoint, and one of them being a letter to the residents along the route, which was mailed out, right, TJ?
Yep.
And then there was a 14-day waiting period after that to take in any feedback from the residents. TJ, have you received any feedback from any residents along?
That's my knowledge. The communications person who's the contact on the letter was out at the end of the week.
Okay.
She's back Wednesday. So if there is any inquiry, she would catch me up and I can relay those to yourself and the rest of the council.
Yeah. Typically, these are not permits that we approve at council.
Right.
They're typical administrative permits.
So we cannot come in and say, no, we don't want it.
I guess that would be a question for Bob. Bob's on.
I guess the question is, I don't know if your mic is on, Councilmember Lawrence.
Oh, it is.
Okay, but if I heard the question correctly, it was, does the city have the right to prohibit the work in the road right of way by the utility company? And the answer to that is state law allows utility companies to use our road right of way. We have the right to permit it. We put conditions on it, but we have to give them the ability to use the road right of way.
That's just my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's still talking, it's cut off.
Oh, Bob, I think you. Bob, we can't hear you all of a sudden. Oh, no, never mind. Leroy's screen's behind.
Oh. I gotta get it wound up again.
Sorry, Councilmember
Chris,
Stevens.
did you hear my response or do you want me to repeat it?
No, we heard it, Bob.
Okay.
We're good. Thank you.
I just think my feedback is to sucks is the county doesn't want it. For their reasons. And timeline, the diligence for the city to air probably similar concerns. They have to put it somewhere. You understand that. Just understand state laws, but the county said, nah, we don't really want it. So now we're left with it at the last part of the construction, and it doesn't give a lot of time to come up with a plan, because I don't know about others, but projections of the pressure station, but it started to flow into the email inbox, and there's a lot of questions about a lot of answers, because the timeline is kind of in a fast track, and now it's in our lap. Decision.
Okay, so they're not objectionable to the pipeline being the right of way. They just, if we had the above ground facility, they don't want to have a dedicated driveway or apron off the road for the technicians to be able to get to and maintain and operate the site.
So help us understand this regulated site. What is the intent of this? Where, I don't know that I saw that in the plans. Where are
It
you
was
talking
the
about?
additional figure because we didn't want to throw it in the actual line work plans until the location was finalized. It was one of the attachments I had sent
Okay.
over. It was kind of general. It showed the right of way in the center line of Murphy, some
Mm-hmm.
dimensions off, and kind of the layout along with some profiles. The 12-inch pipeline operates at a higher pressure than the line that goes currently through some of the city roads and serves the residents.
Mhm.
So this is a intermediate point where it steps down that pressure, and then we utilize the plastic main around 50 pounds. And that's what actually goes up to the meter side by the house.
Sure. Okay. Have you secured a location for this?
I know there's I apologize, I'm forgetting the second one. Rogers declined. The next person down was waiting on a response from his inquiries to the city, whether it would be allowed or not. I think there may be some questions from planning as to layout and location that they'd want to walk through. So once we
Mhm.
kind of cross the Ts, dot the Is, so to speak.
Sure. I'll get to your question in just a second. I saw you out there. Just want to make sure the council members have all their opportunity first, and we'll get to you, Mr. Burke. Okay. Any other questions from council?
I just have one. So we don't know where this,
Regulating station?
where this is gonna go.
Today, no, there's not really a required area. It's just somewhere along the pipeline, like to make the tap off. Right now. it's just-
Somewhere along Murphy Lake. on
Preferably,
Credit River Road.
preferably, yes.
What happens if, no one will agree to grant you the land?
Then I get to go back to the drawing board.
Okay.
I think the other hiccup, just to remind you, Credit River does not allow 2 driveways per parcel.
Mhm.
So if there is a second driveway, there would have to be a variance request, which would come before the council.
Right, so the 2 landowners we've talked to thus far was situated just off the existing drive, so the technician could just come off the road,
Sure.
traverse the grade down, so he's not pulling down the
Mhm.
3 to 4 foot ditch, which is not safe for a truck. And then you just turn up to the station.
Mhm. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, just to be clear about it, sucks part, that was what, a week before the 4th when I contacted you to
Yeah,
get your
that
equipment
Friday, yes.
off of our roads and your pipe and whatever else you had to start the store out there. So that's why I was a little bit upset about the whole thing.
Understandably so, and I do apologize. This particular crew was coming off one of our metropolitan jobs, obviously Baltimore City roads, and usually it's parking both sides where they're not objectionable to them sticking it behind. They did not ask me up front, so I did call Charlie after you and I spoke, asking them what our options were to try to get it off. I gave them a very nice earful when they moved to the next road after I told them to get it off the city road, so I do apologize about the cul-de-sac stuff. They are of complete transparency at this point to not go onto the Credit River right away until I have given them their written permission.
Appreciate that.
Yes, I do apologize about
Mhm.
that.
Okay. With the change in the road, where was the proposed site from like a hydraulic engineering standpoint had to happen for the in the pipeline as it's drawn? There must be some engineering reason or service reason that it's happening in this section.
Because the existing distribution systems are stopped just at 21 where Credit River crosses within the 27 reconstruct and then down closer to 190. So right now we're kind of looking at the pocket where the 3 dead ends, so to speak, are right now. And so if there's any future customers, commercial, residential, existing propane conversions, items like that, then they have a new takeoff point where we can get them the gas. Usually they want gas where we don't have main in the road yet. They're responsible for the footage from the end of main up to covering their service. So right now, it could be 2,000 feet. Something like this allows us to make a couple hundred. So it's significantly cheaper for the residents along the way to do conversions or for new developments to get gas or have it readily available.
Do you have somewhere else in this area that there's a similar regulating station like this that, for example, that we could take a look at? Or could you
If you
get us?
can give me a chance to take a look, I can give you a couple.
We got like
locations.
about 30 seconds.
I got the computer in the car, I can go fire it up.
I know there's one about 70, but I don't know if that's a regulating station.
That's, that's the big guy. You're thinking the one that's on the northern natural gas line. That's something that's on the high pressure line.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
I guess your answer leads into the next question is that, development plan for all of this is always a big question for any of us. And I think that's like the selection of the sites south of 105th. Is that even the right spot in the development that this is going to be there? That's the big question I have, is if the development that's gonna benefit from cost savings to the homeowners. North of that, on the other side of the major thoroughfare is west, does this actually accomplish that goal?
It can easily do so. So to go from this station to, say, the north side of 21, we can just run the plastic main, which is a lot smaller. They drill in 400 to 600 feet at a time. If we were trying to move the station to the north, the valve, the takeoff would still need to go here, so we can control the feed to that station. So up to the station itself would still be the higher pressure. So then we're running 4-inch high pressure steel pipe or 3-inch up to wherever the station would be in the northern side. We did look at trying to come down 21 on the north side in case something like this came up, maybe talking to the garage door manufacturer, see if they had space. But because that is the only sidewalk along 21, that poses a bigger concern is how to get the traveling public through, especially with the reconstruct. We didn't want to request to send them up Murphy and down Casey. That was a huge detour for somebody trying to go to the park. So that's why we elected to come down the south side of the road.
But there's additional cost to tearing up a county bike thoroughfare. I would guess that probably plays into that more than the use of the thoroughfare for the. Probably factors into that a little bit.
No, the pipe was still planned to be, we chose that route to be north of the actual pedestrian walk. So unless there is a lot of detrimental items to, skid steer turning on it or the track will broke it where we had to replace panels, it would have all been up in the green space, would have been similar restoration costs and procedures.
But, and the pipe's already in Murphy. 27.
Oh, at least halfway.
Halfway.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess I need to drive by. Because some of the easements and right of ways seem to exist there. And I drive by there already. On the county road. I guess I'm getting at is that there's a major thoroughfare closer to where there's major intersections, that there's less of a problem, less of an eyesore. This stuff usually doesn't just follow the city road. And I said, to go look at it closer to be a better path.
Okay.
So, some of those points, you're getting some feedback from the county. We don't want to put in easement and access on our 4-lane county highway, but in my mind, I feel like there are access to that truck. And that's something that we all have to look at.
Yeah.
Is anybody else from the universe on actually Murphy Lake?
Yeah.
Itself? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to make sure I wasn't alone in that.
Mhm.
But I think there's going to be some stuff in your email inbox that was accumulated since last week.
Imagine.
I'd imagine.
I'd imagine. That's where I directed you to.
Okay.
All right. Anything else from the council? Mr. Burke, you had a question, if you don't mind. Yeah, at least if you step up to the podium there, name, address, and
Hi, I'm Paul Burke. I live at 196th Street. 2 miles from here. I have a question, a comment, and a question. I'd like to know how, if at all, is this gas pipeline update being discussed right now related to the town border station conditional use permit that the council is going to consider on the 15th. That's going to be at the intersection of County Road 27 and 196th Street. And that's as far as I know right now, that is a Northern Natural Gas project for their customer, who I assume is CenterPoint Energy, because that's where I get my gas right now. My comment is that I tried to contact CenterPoint Energy, Minneapolis, in conjunction with that project to find out, to broaden my understanding of that project from Northern Natural Gas's customer's perspective, and could not get to talk to anybody. I got a runaround and eventually was referred to Houston, Texas, which is the corporate office of CenterPoint, who told me they couldn't tell me anything. I had to talk to Minnesota. So I'm wondering, then my final question is, can I get TJ's full name and contact information? Are you the right person for me to be able to follow up with on this other conditional use permit where your supplier is going to be giving you gas to use? And is that for this project to continue that we're talking about tonight? I think I'm done. I can sit down.
You can sit down, Paul.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for the comments and questions. Much appreciated. Yes, the conditional use permit for Northernstown Border Station is to install the custody transfer point where we will take ownership of the gas and deliver it into the existing distribution system. I do apologize, you got the runaround. There is on the CenterPoint Energy website construction page. The link for it was in the letter that is sent out. If there's additional residents, or if you guys want to, I think I gave you a digital copy. I believe she was going to put together a individual project website for this. There's a lot of them on there. This is one of 8 of these projects that are going on this year, including City of Lakeville, Edina, Northeast Minneapolis, Burnsville, Bloomington. So we do have weekly updates, keep them moving. If there's any kind of traffic control, lane shifts, road closures, detours, stuff like that, we put the maps up there as well, so people can click on it and see, okay, this is what's going on. Here's where we're at. Our relations person's name is Hannah Gullison, and her number is the one that's on that. Usually if there's any questions as far as updates or where to find stuff, that to go to her. And if there's a technical item or question, usually from a member of city staff or council, it goes to me. If it's something about something going on in the field, she usually has the on-site CenterPoint inspector, who's the representative of the field, to deal with the day-to-day.
Okay. And so Hannah's email was on that letter?
Yeah, it should have been the CSV projects at CenterPoint. I apologize, I don't. have
No
the
worries.
exact tag.
Let's see, I got the letter right here.
Okay. Yeah, so, there should be 2 email addresses, one kind of project questions, updates, and then one if there's
Yeah.
restoration item.
It looks like
concerns.
there's just a link to the website.
Right, so if they're,
That probably won't, because that's a Northern National Gas.
right, so ours would have been entitled the Credit River Project, since it's predominantly within the Credit River city.
Paul, the guy from the planning meeting, couldn't give you any information? From Northern? Well, that's right.
All right. So the website does have that email address on there. I'll send you a link to that, Paul.
Yeah, thank you for the questions.
Okay, any final questions? No action to take on this tonight. This is just informational. Other than to the website. Would be the csv.construction@centerpoint.com.
It's just not in that letter.
Right, the letter just directs you right to the website. Well, we can post this link to this site on our website too.
Direction to
Yeah. All right, anybody have anything, last comments or anything for TJ? TJ, we appreciate you coming tonight and updating us on this. And we'll just keep us up to date.
Yeah, awesome. No, thank you for the time. We'll watch for all the emails or inquiries forwarded over. I'm assuming that a lot of them are fairly similar as far as what's going on with spec items like that. So we definitely get call it cover response so that staff they're asked have information to respond on versus I don't know, let me check.
Right.
That's not a good position for anyone.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank
All right.
you, everyone. I appreciate the time. I hope you have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you. Have a good evening. All right, next up in general business, Leroy 16141 Creekwood driveway.
Driveway was put in with a plastic culvert and they had flared ends to it. I went out and looked at it Saturday. They wanted the money back.
Escrow.
Finally got that all squared away. It's not seeded or lowered to the proper depth in the ditch either. The whole driveway is not removed properly. So I denied their application. Just let you guys know about it.
Okay, yeah, until it's restored the way it should be.
When do they plan on doing the rest of the work? Before winter or next spring or? To be determined.
I don't know, this is one of these we found out after they moved the driveway and installed.
Sounds like the answer should be
It came in for.
that you don't speculate.
Yeah.
You don't speculate.
I don't speculate. It came in for the permit application after the driveway was in.
Right.
Of course. So anyhow, that's for that one.
So
That, if
no escrow
anybody-
returned on that one.
if anybody gets any feedback on it, let me know.
All right. Sounds good. That takes us into council member liaison updates and council member reports. Does anybody have anything for tonight?
Nope. Oh. Just one, Jake Porker went out and sprayed all the brush on the park roads. Kill off all that stuff. Did probably half a dozen of the township roads too. People yelling and screaming about the beautiful buckthorn and other
Invasive species or?
shrubbery dying. That's what happened.
Okay. All right, let's move in and approve tonight's listing of claims. Tonight, in the listing of claims, we have claims for the amount of $354,868. Does anybody have any questions on any of those claims for tonight?
No.
I would take a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Leroy. Thank you, Al. Motion and a second to approve the listing of claims tonight for a total of $354,868.64. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Next up, motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, hang on.
Mr. Mayor, before,
Yes.
if you are going into the workshop session, you
Yes,
would not adjourn. You just, this meeting would just continue, but it'd be a workshop. You don't want to adjourn.
okay. So you're gonna amend your motion to
I'll
continue into the
hold on
workshop.
my motion until we later on.
That sounds good. All right. Thanks, Bob.
Okay.
Adjourn, and then we can get two meetings done.